The boardroom of Sullivan Technologies hadn't changed in 5 years. Same mahogany table, same leather chairs, same floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Chicago. But the expressions on my brothers' faces, those were entirely new. Ms. West, their assistant had announced moments ago, the CEO of Quantum Dynamics is here for the meeting. Then I walked in. Michael dropped his coffee mug. David's mouth fell open. I savored their shock as I took my seat at the head of the conference table, the same table where 5 years ago they told me I wasn't qualified to help run our family's company. "Hello, brothers," I said calmly. "Shall we discuss the terms of the acquisition?" 5 years earlier, I stood in Dad's office, staring at the photos on his desk, him with my brothers at their college graduations, them in their business suits at company events, and one small photo tucked in the back, me at my high school science fair, holding my first place trophy for a revolutionary battery design. "He always believed in you, Kate," Mom said softly from the doorway. 2 weeks after Dad's heart attack, she still couldn't bring herself to clear out his office. "Did he?" I asked, picking up the science fair photo. "Then why did he let Michael and David push me out of research and development? Why did he never stand up to them when they said a girl shouldn't be involved in tech development?" Mom sighed. "Your father, he thought he was protecting you. The corporate world can be cruel, especially to women in tech. He didn't want you to face that. So instead he let his sons run the company into the ground." The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. "They're killing his legacy, Mom. Sullivan Technologies used to be innovative. Now we're just another middling tech supplier living off Dad's old patents." She didn't argue. She couldn't. In the 3 years since Michael and David had taken over day-to-day operations, the company had stagnated. They focused on safe, proven technologies while our competitors innovated. Dad had been too sick to stop them, and now, Ms. Sullivan. Dad's assistant poked her head in. "The board meeting is starting. Your brothers specifically requested your presence." I straightened my jacket, the same one I'd worn to countless meetings where Michael and David had dismissed my ideas. At 25, I was the youngest Sullivan sibling, but I'd spent my life studying technology and engineering while they got business degrees and played golf. The boardroom was full when I arrived. Michael and David sat at the head of the table, folders spread before them. The board members, mostly Dad's old friends, looked uncomfortable. "Kate," Michael said with that condescending smile I knew too well. "Thanks for joining us. We have some matters to discuss about your role in the company." "My role?" I took my seat. "You mean my position as head of R&D, the one Dad gave me before he got sick?" "About that," David leaned forward. "The board has been reviewing the company's structure. We feel that R&D needs more experienced leadership." "More experienced?" I felt my face flush. "I've been developing new technologies since I was 15. My battery designs were interesting science projects," Michael cut in. "But this is business, little sister. We need proven leaders, not experimental designs that may never work." I looked around the table, seeking support from the board members who'd known me since childhood. Most wouldn't meet my eyes. "We're prepared to offer you a generous severance package," David continued, sliding a folder toward me. "And of course, you'll retain your shares in the company. But operational decisions need to be made by qualified." "By men, you mean?" I stood up, my chair scraping back. "By business school graduates who've never invented anything in their lives?" "Kate," Michael's voice hardened. "Don't make this emotional. You're not qualified to run a major division. The board agrees." I opened the folder. The severance was substantial, enough to live comfortably for years. They thought they could buy me off, erase me from Dad's legacy with a check. "The board agrees?" I looked at each member in turn. "Or you convince them by threatening to sell their contracts to our competitors?" David's face reddened. I'd hit a nerve. I'd seen the emails, the subtle threats they'd made to Dad's old partners. "Support us or lose your business. You have until the end of the week to clear out your office," Michael said firmly. "Don't make this difficult." I picked up the severance agreement and slowly, deliberately, tore it in half. "You want me gone? Fine. But remember this moment. Remember how you treated your sister, who only wanted to honor Dad's vision. Because I promise you, this isn't the last you'll see of me." I walked out of the boardroom with my head high, leaving the torn papers on the table. Behind me, I heard David mutter, "Drama queen." She'll calm down once she sees the money in her account. They didn't know I'd been preparing for this. Didn't know about the patents I'd filed in my own name, separate from Sullivan Technologies. Didn't know about the prototype battery system I developed in my private lab, the one that could revolutionize electric vehicle technology. Most importantly, they didn't know about the meetings I'd been having with venture capitalists who believed in my vision. I cleared out my office that afternoon, filling 2 boxes with personal items. My team, the brilliant engineers and developers I'd recruited, watched sadly as I left. "Don't worry," I told them quietly. "This isn't goodbye. It's just a new beginning." Mom was waiting at my apartment when I got home. One look at my face told her everything. "They did it, didn't they?" She didn't seem surprised. "Just like they did to your father when he wanted to focus on new technology instead of safe profits." I set my boxes down. "What do you mean, like they did to Dad?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "Why do you think he got so sick, Kate? The stress of watching his sons destroy everything he built, seeing them push you aside. It broke his heart." "Why didn't he stop them?" "Because they threatened to sell the company, split it up, destroy all the jobs he created. He thought if he gave them control, they'd eventually understand his vision, see the potential in you." I sat heavily on my couch, anger and grief warring inside me. Well, they made their choice. Now I'll make mine. The next morning, I walked into First Chicago Bank with a business plan and a prototype battery. By evening, I had a meeting scheduled with their technology investment division. 2 days later, I met with a patent attorney who'd worked with Dad years ago. He reviewed my personal patents, helping me ensure they were ironclad and completely separate from Sullivan Technologies. "Your brothers made a big mistake," he said, looking over my designs. "This battery technology, it's revolutionary. The application potential in electric vehicles alone." "I know," I smiled. "And they just kicked out the only person who knows how to make it work." Within a month, I had seed funding from 3 major venture capital firms. Within 6 months, I had my own lab space and a team of engineers, including several who'd quit Sullivan Technologies to join me. I named my company Quantum Dynamics. Not too obvious, but Dad would have appreciated the reference to his favorite physics principle. Quantum leaps forward change everything. The first year was brutal. 18-hour days, endless investor meetings, technical challenges that seemed insurmountable. But slowly, surely, we made progress. Michael and David, meanwhile, continued running Sullivan Technologies like it was 1995. They focused on government contracts and old technology, ignoring the electric vehicle revolution that was transforming the industry. I kept tabs on them through old contacts, watched as their stock price stagnated, as key employees left, as their market share dwindled. They were so focused on maintaining control that they couldn't see the future slipping away. Then came the breakthrough. After 3 years of development, our new battery system worked. It wasn't just good, it was transformative. Faster charging, longer life, safer operation. Everything the electric vehicle industry desperately needed. The day we announced our success, Sullivan Technologies stock dropped 15%. I imagine Michael and David were too busy dealing with angry shareholders to notice who owned Quantum Dynamics. I kept my name out of the press, operating through holding companies and careful corporate structures. As far as the public knew, Quantum Dynamics was run by a mysterious CEO who never gave interviews. Until now, our success attracted attention from major automakers. Tesla, GM, Ford, they all wanted our technology. But I had a different plan in mind. Sullivan Technologies, desperate for new technology to stay relevant, approached us about a partnership. I didn't know they were talking to their own flesh and blood. I let my CFO handle the initial negotiations, watching as Michael and David grew more desperate. Their company was failing. They needed us. Finally, after months of talks, they agreed to a meeting with Quantum's CEO. They thought they were negotiating a partnership. They had no idea they were about to discover exactly who they kicked out of their company 5 years ago. The shock on my brothers' faces quickly turned to anger. Michael recovered first, his face reddening as he stood up. "This is some kind of joke," he sputtered. You can't be." "The CEO of Quantum Dynamics." I finished for him. "The company that's revolutionizing electric vehicle technology? The one you desperately need a partnership with to save Sullivan Technologies?" I smiled. "I assure you, this is very real." David was frantically scrolling through his phone, probably searching for information about Quantum's ownership structure. This is impossible. We would have known. Would you? I opened my laptop and turned it to face them. You were so busy protecting your positions that you never bothered to look at what was happening in the industry. You never even noticed when I filed these patents. I pulled up the patent documents, all 15 of them. Breakthrough technologies that had made quantum dynamics the most sought-after battery manufacturer in the electric vehicle sector. The severance package you offered me? I continued. I invested it in research, every penny. While you were playing golf with Dad's old business partners, I was building the future he always dreamed of. The board won't stand for this, Michael threatened, but his voice wavered. We'll fight any takeover attempt. The board? I laughed. You mean the board members you've been threatening and alienating for years? The ones who've watched Sullivan Technologies' stock price plummet under your leadership. I pulled up another document. They've already agreed to the acquisition. Both my brothers fell silent as they saw the signatures. Every board member had approved Quantum's purchase of Sullivan Technologies. The deal was already done. How? David whispered. How did you build all this without us knowing? Because you never took me seriously, I said quietly. You were so convinced that your business degrees made you smarter than your little sister that you never saw me as a threat. Even when your best engineers started leaving to join a mysterious new company, you didn't investigate. Your arrogance made you blind. The door opened and Mom walked in. My brother's jaws dropped again. Mom? Michael stood. What are you doing here? Supporting my daughter, she said firmly. The way I should have done years ago when you two forced her out. You knew about this? David demanded. I've been on Quantum's board since the beginning, Mom replied. Someone had to make sure your father's real legacy was protected. I pressed a button on my phone and the boardroom screen lit up with a presentation. Now let's discuss your futures at the company. Obviously, changes will need to be made. You can't fire us, Michael protested. We're family. Funny, I said coldly. That didn't seem to matter when you were firing me. But don't worry, I'm not like you. I won't throw you out completely. I pulled up their new job descriptions. Michael, you'll be heading our government relations department. Your connections might actually be useful there. David, you'll be managing our legacy contracts division. Both positions report to our new COO. The door opened again, and my old R&D team leader walked in. Sorry I'm late, Sarah said, taking her seat. Traffic was terrible. Sarah? David looked like he might faint, but she resigned 3 years ago. To become my chief operating officer, I confirmed. She's been instrumental in Quantum's success. Unlike you, I know how to recognize and reward talent. I let them absorb the full impact of their new reality. Their sister, the one they dismissed and belittled, was now their boss. The company they tried to protect from innovation was about to become a subsidiary of the most innovative battery manufacturer in the industry. You have until tomorrow to decide, I told them. Accept your new positions or resign. Either way, Sullivan Technologies will become part of Quantum Dynamics. And what about Dad's legacy? Michael asked quietly. Are you just going to erase the Sullivan name? For the first time, I heard real emotion in his voice. Despite everything, he did care about our father's reputation. Look out the window, I said. They turned. A crane was lifting new letters onto the building across the street, Quantum's new headquarters. Quantum Dynamics, I read aloud, a Sullivan Technologies company. I turned back to my brothers. Dad's legacy isn't just a name on a building. It's about innovation, about believing in new ideas. That's what I'm protecting. Mom squeezed my hand under the table. I saw tears in her eyes. There's one more thing, I said, opening a final folder. Dad's original patents, the ones that built this company. I've had them re-examined. The basic principles, the core innovations, they weren't developed in the lab here. I slid out an old photograph. Dad in our garage, working late at night. Next to him, a young girl with wild hair and safety goggles too big for her face, holding up a circuit board. He developed them at home, with his daughter's help. Me, I was 12 when I helped him solve the power distribution problem that made his first battery design work. He never told anyone because he knew how the corporate world would react to knowing a child, a girl, had contributed to such important technology. My brothers stared at the photo, recognition dawning in their eyes. They'd seen Dad working late in the garage but had never bothered to join him. They'd been too busy with sports and social events to care about circuits and batteries. So you see, I continued, this isn't just about revenge or taking over the company. This is about finishing what Dad and I started, building something that matters. The silence stretched for a long moment. Finally, David spoke. We really screwed up, didn't we? Yes, I agreed. You did. But now you have a choice. You can be part of building something new, or you can walk away. What's it going to be? They exchanged looks. 20 years of brotherhood, of shared privilege and arrogance, seemed to pass between them. I'm in, Michael said quietly. If you'll give me a chance to learn, to do better. David nodded. Me too. We owe you that much. We owe Dad that much. Good, I stood up. Because we have work to do. The electric vehicle revolution isn't waiting for anyone. As they filed out of the boardroom, Mom stayed behind. Your father would be so proud, she said, hugging me tight. Not just of what you built, but of how you did it. You gave them a chance to be better. I looked out at the city skyline, at the new sign going up on our building. Dad always said success wasn't just about making money, it was about making a difference. Now we can do both. The next few months were transformative. Michael and David, stripped of their executive privileges, actually started learning the business from the ground up. They discovered that their sister's science projects had created a multi-billion-dollar company that was changing the future of transportation. Sarah proved to be an exceptional COO, managing the integration of Sullivan Technologies into quantum with remarkable skill. Many of the employees who'd left over the years returned, excited to be part of something innovative again. 1 year after the acquisition, we held a company-wide celebration. I stood on the stage, looking out at hundreds of employees, including my brothers, sitting quietly in the middle rows. 5 years ago, I made a promise to myself. Not just to prove my brothers wrong, but to prove my father right. He believed that technology could make the world better. He believed that innovation comes from unexpected places. Most of all, he believed in giving people chances, even when they don't deserve them. I gestured to the prototype of our newest battery system, displayed proudly on stage. This isn't just a product. It's a reminder that sometimes the people you underestimate, the ones you push aside or ignore, might just be the ones who change everything. Thank you all for being part of that change. The applause was deafening. As I left the stage, I caught Michael and David wiping tears from their eyes. They finally understood what Dad had tried to teach us all along. Success isn't about power or control. It's about vision, innovation, and the courage to believe in something bigger than yourself. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong. It's showing them a better way to be right.